welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today we've got Ajay Mitchell joining us, a 6'4" guard from UC Santa Barbara. One of the more fun mid-major players in this draft class, and in my opinion, a potential first-round pick in the 2024 NBA draft. I have a first-round grade on him, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to check out why his game is very reminiscent of guards like Jalen Brunson, who have this incredible ability to decelerate. But first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What's this gonna be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. All right, here now with Ajay Mitchell, potential first-round pick in the 2024 NBA draft. AJ, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just a lot of workouts. It's fun time, fun experience. So been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, it's that like exciting time of the year where like, we're recording this a week before the draft. So like you've got all of this, like it's not like anxiety, like, but it's, excitement for like next week, I'm sure on some level, like where you're going to end up and, are you going to get your name called first night or the second night's like a whole wrinkle now as well, obviously. So yeah. But I want to introduce you a little bit to the people because, you go to UC Santa Barbara and you have this like amazing basketball journey. Like I remember I was talking to John Riley, now the coach over in Perth, but the guy who recruited you to
Yeah.
UCSB at the end of the day, kind of about your story. And it's pretty amazing. So I'll just kind of give you the floor and kind of explain like how you came up within basketball. For people that don't know, like, you have absolutely no accent whatsoever. So you are from Belgium originally, and just kind of let the people in on what, how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, no. I grew up in Belgium. My dad was a professional basketball player, so watched him a lot growing up, and I always wanted to play basketball. First sport I picked up, and then most of my siblings played college sports, so I always wanted to go to college, even though I was in Europe at that time. And just I played throughout high school in Belgium. Played 1 year professional, and then when I was 16, started getting recruited. And John Riley from UCSB was the first coach to recruit me. So it was pretty dope and really fun to just build that connection with UCSB. And then it was an easy decision for me just to pick UCSB as a school. First of all, the location for sure, but I think the relationship I had with the coaches and then the opportunity to play right away. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. That's where I wanted to go, and here I am now after 3 years. UC Santa Barbara. It was a fun experience, and feel like I got better every year. So really happy about my decision.
Yeah, and like you had like a continual decision to make whether or not you wanted to stay at UCSB, right? Because you were freshman of the year in the Big West your first year. You won player of the year as a sophomore. You led your team to the NCAA tournament in that second year. I mean, we live in like a world where it's obvious that the transfer portal is like a real thing. What made you decide to stay at UCSB?
I just think loyalty, honestly. I think Santa Barbara was one of the first school to believe in me, and felt like I just wanted to give back to them. Once they gave me the opportunity to step on the campus and wear that jersey, I just wanted to give my all. And every year, obviously, there's always conversations about what's going to happen next year. Is he going to transfer? But for me, I obviously definitely thought about it. But for me, it was always like, I want to stay at Santa Barbara, keep getting better every day. And then I knew that Santa Barbara was my team. So being able to lead my team was something that I really wanted to do. And
Mhm.
I'm glad I got to do that.
And the other thing about you as well is, when I like again from talking to Riley about this, like I just kind of know, like, when JR was recruiting you to start, you were like smaller. Like you were not you were not like 6'4" like you are now or whatever your listed is. So can you kind of give the people like a little bit of an explanation on like your growth spurt and like how
And I
you kind of
was
grew and got bigger?
I mean, I was always small throughout
Yeah.
high school, even before that, and I was like 5'8" until I was like 16, maybe 16, 17, and then started growing finally. And then I think I got the UC Santa Barbara. I was probably like 6'2",
Yeah.
and I was like 170, and made a big jump. My sophomore year started at 190, and now I'm up to 200. So yeah, definitely felt the difference in college about lifting, food, everything. So it was fun. It was great. It was good for me.
It's awesome. Like just seeing the way that your body is matured, right? Like you've become like a
Mhm.
totally different dude even from the time that you got to campus,
Yeah,
let
for
alone,
sure. Yeah,
when you were 16, 5 or 6 years ago, right? So,
yeah.
uh, all right, let's just kind of talk through your game, right? For people that aren't aware of like your game and haven't watched you play much, just how would you describe yourself? Let's just kind of start there.
I would just say high IQ guard, like good playmaker, making plays for myself, making plays for my teammates, and then really competitive on both ends of the floor. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I think that absolutely stands out when I watch your game. Like, I love the way that you are a technician in the mid-range area and that ability to score. And I feel like this year, almost as much as any year as I can remember, it's like a draft of guys that are elite decelerators, right?
Hmm.
Guys that can really like slow it down in that area of the middle of the court and be able to get to the rim. And it's funny again, I'm bringing up John because I know that, I've talked to him a lot about you. And, the guy that, we brought up even in September was like, he just reminds me of Jalen Brunson in terms of the way that he plays, right? Long way to go, obviously. Jalen Brunson, was, fifth in MVP this year, sixth in MVP, whatever he was. But, is Jalen one of those guys that you kind of watch and kind of try and like take things from? Because it is like a very easy comparison as people will see whenever we kind of watch tape here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's always a guy, especially the last few years. Just that I've been watching, seeing how he get to his spots, and then his patience too. I feel like he's never really sped up, and that's something that I kind of feel I have in my game too. So, being able to watch his film, see how he gets to his spot, and then his patience and how he uses his body has been pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, and I can pull this up while we're talking here. Like the folks over at P3, which is based in Santa Barbara, right? I'm sure that you're very good friends. Shout out Eric Leidersdorf and Adam Hewitt and all the great people over there. They tweeted this out and I've seen it where they explain how similarly you are athletically to
Hmm.
Jalen Brunson, right? Like a lot of the tests that they do, like you can just see this like little spider web here, right? Where, I think that you are the green maybe and he's the blue. Like there's just like an enormous overlap in terms of just how, or you're the blue and he's the green, but there's just like an enormous overlap in terms of, the way that you move at the
Yeah,
end of the day. And that's a huge benefit, I think, that we'll, kind of see as we kind of talk through this. But let's just kind of start diving into tape here, right? So this one, against New Mexico, one of the, really good teams that you played this year. This is just a really quick little, I don't know, do you want to call this like a tight double drag? Like I don't even,
it was
what
like
are we going to call this?
I'd probably call it. What we used to do is just have the second man just slipping early, so it was like a drag, but more of like a slip,
Yep.
and then just kind of reading the defense, honestly, uh, just playing off of that, and then for me, it's just right here when I like right here when I get back to that like kind of step back, just being able to read and see where the defense is and where it's going to be an opportunity for me to drive or pass it. And then here is just recognizing he's going out and my right hand is going to be open on that.
Yeah, I mean, the two things that you combine exceptionally well to me, and why I do have a first round grade on you is just like this ability to put force into the ground and stop, right? Along with the ability to keep like a live dribble. Like that ability to like stop on your right foot like that on a dime is like not super normal, right? Like that's just like not stuff that like people do regularly. And then like the ability to stop and then keep the dribble going by like
Yeah.
putting it behind your back like that. And then comfort driving with your right hand. The other thing you do just really, really well. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3 bodies here. We've got a fourth that could theoretically dig into your handle here. I think you just navigate defensive bodies like really, really well in the lane, and you figure out how to find those like little tight creases. Yeah. How do you improve that? Or like, how do you go about like seeing the court in those moments?
I mean, I think footwork first of all is a big part of it. Being able to like not do too much and just do like the perfect movement, honestly. And then once I get this spot, is just always like it's always going to be reading the defense. But here I see that tight little gap in between those two players, and so just going through that and being able to finish, I think it honestly just comes down to reading the defense and then like having a good footwork for me.
That's like one of the tightest like little gaps there that I've seen. Like you can barely see the blue pen there on screen. Like I'll try and like make it bigger. Like that's how tight it is between the help defender in the bottom corner here, his right foot, and then the wing help defender coming down,
Yeah.
his left foot. Like that is an exceptionally tight crease for you to get through, and you still just like find a way and navigate your way through that little area. This one here against Fresno State, like again, like you're just putting dudes on skates. Like you're really just like kind of putting guys on skates. Kind of take me through this one again. Like this is just a screen, and then you're kind of
Yeah, I
figuring
think
it out, right?
right here, yeah. Seeing that I have a lot of space off that first screen, there's only one guy on the left side, so I know that I can take my guy down there, and then once I get down here, I feel he's on my hip, so just kind of like shove him off, and then just here it's like same thing. Like once I get back to that dribble, just read and then know that oh yeah, that left is kind of open. There's only one guy here, no one in the corner. If I can get to that spot and get that floater up, I'm good.
Well, and like you can almost like see your mind like processing this. Like you just see him like go forward like this,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh yeah, like there's no way. Like as soon as he plants that right foot down, like here, he just has no chance. His body's going to be too turned to be able to
Yeah.
get back in front of me, right? And then the high finish as well. Like one of the things that is just like so incredibly evident about your game is you are an incredible finisher around the basket, despite the fact that you aren't like, you're not the best vertical athlete in the world, right? Like you're not somebody that's, out here like jumping out of the gym, right? But you are a guy that made like well over 60% of your shots at the rim this year. I think you made like 68 or so last year. Like you were ridiculous last season. And on top of that, you made like 2 of your 3 hook shots. You made 56% of your runners. Like just like the touch, the balance. How does one become a great finisher without having that like immense like vertical presence?
I think, I mean, for me, it was growing up as a small guard and
Mhm.
knowing that I'm not going to be able to just go in there, dunk it, or get whatever I want. So, trying to find, honestly, the best spots on the court to get off like a floater, get off a little touch shot. Like right here on this, like left side, it's for me, it's like really easy. Left foot, right foot, just to get it up and try to just hit that bank shot. I think for me, it's just really using like my IQ to my advantage, getting to my spots and then getting a shot off because I know I'm not going to be able to always get what I want at the rim. So just being able to read that and know that someone's going to try to block my shot. So at some point I got to know like how to finish over them.
Yeah. This one here, again, you stop, you get into what it looks like it's just going to be a simple mid-range jumper, and you decide to step through and go, right? And you get this beautiful little like scoop finger roll right around the rim. The footwork is just like completely ridiculous. How did you go about improving these footsteps that you are able to, these combinations of moves while staying on balance and maintaining your touch. Like
Mhm.
these things aren't super easy. And I love how you always play off of 2 feet as well, but you play off of 2 feet, but you also have the ability to go off of one around the rim. Like you don't have to like load leap like into it. Like you have the
Mhm.
footwork to be able to make it work. So how did you kind of go about combining those like two factors as you kind of went about crafting your game?
I think just about reps, honestly, just me getting in the gym and working on how can I finish in different ways. I think Santa Barbara, our coach, had a big emphasis on playing off of 2 feet when you get into the paint. And then for
Mhm.
me, it was just how can I combine that? And for me, it was just being able to read the defense, but also like work on my footwork and then working on different ways to get to the rim off of 2 foot. So being able to like right here that fake and just like step through, even sometimes the spin move. So I think just being able to kind of read the defense and then me obviously just playing, like
Yeah.
it's not like I'm working on everything. It's just being able to play and play off of what the defense is going to give me.
Yeah, like you're just kind of flowing. It's like natural for you
Mhm.
on some level. Like it's pretty easy. And then this one here, that spin move again, like you mentioned, it's a perfect segue, right? Like you did a great job there. This one, you're gonna plant here and you're just gonna feel what you're feeling. This man just too strong or what?
Nah, I just feel like he was getting back in front of me. And then also, if you go back, kind of just seeing where the defense is really like right here, I'm going to just drive. I see that I have that left, but he's coming back. So I have that right lane open. And then seeing the three guys right here, like no one's going to be on that backside. So that
Yeah.
spin move is going to be wide open, being able to get to the rim.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the like, you know, great creators, they just like kind of understand, like NBA level creators, right? They're just like almost counting bodies,
Yeah.
right? That's what it feels like you're doing here. You're just like counting, okay, I've got my man on my hip here. I've got this man helping. We have three, we have four here. I know that I have that man behind me. Like, is that kind of what's going through your mind as you try and like figure out, where to go and how to maneuver in these spots?
Yeah, I mean, every time I like drive or like use a ball screen, it's always reading where the other guys are. It's not always going to be a one-on-one situation. Like there's always help. So recognizing where the defense is and also obviously where my teammates are, just to know where the space for myself is going to be, but where they're going to be open. So yeah, always trying to read like the other four guys.
Yep. This one, you're gonna come around a screen again. You're gonna get into a flip, and then this is just like a sick floater. Uh, you have one of the like better touch floaters I feel like I've seen in this draft, certainly, and honestly in the last few years. How did you go about just like developing this? Because this is like almost, I don't want to call it wrong footed, but like, I mean, this is what your takeoff spot is,
Yeah.
right? Like your feet are pointed this way and you're still going to like realign your body in midair and be able to get to that floater. So how did you kind of go about crafting that floater game and that ability to just kind of like have an innate feel for where the basket is almost on these shots and be able to throw it up with touch?
And I mean, for me, I think it was just balance. First of all, I think being able to jump off different angles, sometimes being like facing the sideline and being able to turn in the air and just have that floater. So mostly working on
Yep.
balance and then just knowing where my spots are. I know that like that area, that second zone is like if I get there, no matter what the footwork is or where I'm standing, I'll be able to just turn in the air and get my floater up and have a good touch with that.
The thing that you also really have is just like you have an immense number of finishes in your repertoire. Like this one here, this is right-handed, right? Like I feel like you are completely comfortable with your right hand around the rim. Like, you like people might think of you as some left-hand dominant kind of player, but you have no problem going up and like making a shot with your right hand around the basket. And then this one, you're going to come around, and that's like a same side, finish, right? Like,
Mhm.
lefty plant, lefty finish, right? Like those are difficult shots for guys that aren't necessarily like the natural footwork. You have that, like, you make it look, you make the unnatural look natural a lot of the time, is like maybe the way to put it, in terms of comfort. So how do you go about developing that, like, overall complete repertoire to where you can, step through? I've seen you make up and unders. I've seen you go like same foot, same hand finish, right-handed finish. Like there's just a lot in your repertoire. So how do you go about developing all of those different little things that you have,
Mhm.
within your toolbox?
Yeah, I feel like at a young age, I mean, especially in Europe, focusing a lot on footwork and just like fundamentals finishes. And I think like working on same foot, same hand, a lot of that stuff, and then also like euros and different ways to finish at the rim. I think since I was a little kid, I've been doing this, so feel
Mhm.
really comfortable about this. And then I think once I got to college, it was obviously I got bigger, got stronger, faster. So knowing that I had that already like in my bag and being able to do that at a higher level really helped me. And I feel like once I got to college, it was keep working on that in different situations. And yeah, I think since I was a kid, I've been doing that. So feel always felt comfortable getting to the rim in different situations.
Was there any adjustment when you had the growth spurt in terms of like having to relearn these things around the basket, or was it just still there kind of?
No, I think it helped me a lot to have art that I already had that, and I think once I got bigger and stronger, it was even easier to get to the rim. So
Mm.
I think it definitely helped me for sure to learn that at a young age.
So this one here, I think we're going to start getting into like the mid-range game now, right? Where you are a lefty, you have a very smooth looking shot, and we'll talk about the jumper here momentarily, obviously, but this is a killer shot, late in the game against Bakersfield. Just your comfort with your ball pickup, I think, is so fantastic. Being able to get there from so many different, style of moves, right? Like this one, you create so much separation on this step back, right? This one is like almost a little bit awkward because you kind of get cut off, but you know that you have to take this shot here, in order to help your team win. You realign in midair. You have like the little, pump fake there to be able to realign and readjust. How did you go about developing, we'll just start this basic, how did you go about developing this like stop and pop mid-range game from that area of the court?
So I think, I mean, once again, like as a kid, knowing that, like it wasn't easy for me to get to the rim when I was like really small. So it was
Yep.
where are my spots, and mid range was the like first spot that I was like, this is where I can just score a lot. And then being able to obviously separate off the dribble, but then also just like just a pump fake too, get him in the air, and then kind of just going up there. I feel like I've always felt really comfortable in the mid range and off the dribble or not, just being able to like get it up and then just like following through. I think the mid range has always been a good part of my game, and feel like it actually like in college I really felt like it got much better. I think obviously a lot of reps, but I think also just taking those shots a lot, and then knowing that if I get to my spot, I'm gonna be able to get that shot off, and like it's an easy shot.
And then like the other thing is a lot of guys, you know, sometimes struggle going same side on their pull up, right? Like for righties, it's a lot more comfortable stepping back to the left. For lefties, in your case, more comfortable typically stepping back to the right. But you have that ability to get to the pull up both going to your right and to your left. In my opinion, this is a prime
Mhm.
example of it. Like this is about perfect. It's everything that you can see. I mean, it's literally the next shot in the game that we just saw after that little up fake make, right? Where how comfortable are you kind of going to your left? Like is it just natural for you at this point? Like and like how did you go about fixing that part of your game and like making it so that it was a real piece of it?
Yeah, no, I think it's natural. I feel like I always when I was younger, I always prefer going right. I had a much better handle with
Yeah.
my right hand than my left.
Hmm.
But I think like getting to college and then growing up, just knowing that you can't only have one side. Like you got to be able to shoot off the right, shoot off the left. So working a lot on that, like left dribble, pull up, sidestep. So just working on different situations, but making sure that I'm able to go both ways because some defense are not going to let me go right or not going to let me go left. So I got to figure it out.
So this one, again, I mean, you just like straight up sat this man from Riverside on the ground. This one's got to be among your favorites this year, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that person is. I'm sorry. I apologize to you, but that's just like sick, right? So like, explain to me what you see whenever like you see something like that happen. Like, are you just like, all right, I better make this shot because this is going to be a sick highlight? Like, where are you at? Like, once you see
for
that
sure,
guy go down?
you for sure got to make that shot. I think, but in the moment, I'm not even like I don't even think I noticed him going like down. I was just like, once I got that separation, I was like, oh yeah, like he's far away from me. I have time to just kind of step back and get that shot up. But yeah, you got to make that.
You got to make it. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be on the tape otherwise. Like, you've probably sat a few people down that like you didn't make the shot, and I'm glad I'm glad you got one here,
Yeah,
right?
one.
But this is what you're capable of, right? Like, this is what that deceleration is more than anything, right? Like that ability to stop and put force into the ground and just make shots like this, right? So like, you are putting a lot of force like into your left leg there to like stop and then like change directions, right? I mean, this is a prime example of that just like not being normal, right? Like, do you feel a lot of guys like I think it's easier intuitively for us to all understand speeding up, right? But slowing down is like almost like a different thing, like when you're visually watching it. When you're on the court, like, do you feel like how much easier it is for you to slow down compared to other people?
No, for sure. I definitely felt the difference. I think, I mean, even growing up, but especially in college, I think a lot of guys are really like more athletic than in Europe. But that deceleration is something that I've seen in my game that's really like important and feel like it helps me a lot, especially against better athletes to get to my spots. And I think seeing guys like, I mean, Jalen Brunson, Luka also like, they're not the fastest, but how they can decelerate and get to their spots is just amazing. So I feel like that's a part of my game that can really help me.
Yeah, and like you're able to then like stop and just get on balance into that shot, right? Like there's no like I feel like you're never off balance, really. It just always feels like very confident and comfortable. This one here, like a little, fake, then like jab to the right, go to the left. Again, just showcasing that you can make shots going to your left. This one here, and now we're just getting into building off of the 3-level scoring, right? Like we've shown you at the rim, we've shown you in the mid range. Now we're going to show you just like drilling this right behind a handoff, right? This guy goes like way under. What are you reading here as you like are coming down the court? Like, are you just like kind of hoping this guy goes under so that you have this shot? Like what immediately upon this like quick little double drag here being set, like what are you kind of seeing?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously double drag, just trying to like read how they're going to defend it. I think here I see him already at the 3-point line and I'm like, yeah, if he's going to go under that, like I'm going to just stop and pop. Like that's an easy shot. And then I feel like it's all going to be like here they get confused. He's under the screen. It's like that's a great shot. Like that's an easy shot. I have to take that. And I feel like it's just reading the defense. Like if he would go over, it would probably be a drive, So just once I see him down there and I know he's going under, it's just I know in my head I got like that's a shot.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up like that it's a drive. If it's, he's going over, I'm going to the rim, right? Because that it speaks to how your game builds upon itself as a scorer, right? Defenders always have to be cognizant of you from within 25 feet, essentially.
Yeah.
They have to be up on you at any point. But then when they're up on you, that almost like creates even more problem because of your ability to stop and be able to keep that live dribble and move. So whenever you were younger, you were, last year, I think you maybe hit like 32 or so from three. Like it's kind of off the top of my head. I'll look it up while we're talking. But like this year you drilled 39% of your threes. I would imagine that was a big like off-season goal of yours, was to like get that 3-point number up. How did you go about like fixing that piece of your game and going from a guy that was like an elite level mid-range scorer, elite level finisher around the basket, and a so-so shooter from the 3-point line, to like a genuine, I'm knocking down shots at all three levels now and I'm like an impossible guard?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the biggest thing for me was just staying consistent, staying in the
Yep.
gym and keep shooting. But I think the biggest part was probably confidence. I
Yeah.
think that was probably the biggest jump to my junior year, especially from the three. Is just when I'm open, just shoot it, not worry about anything. Like I feel like my first 2 years, if I would miss like my first two threes, I would be like, yeah, like I'm not gonna shoot anymore. And then this year was just like, if I'm open, I'm gonna shoot it. And even sometimes I'm not open, but it's a good shot, I'll take it. And it's like I always knew that I was a good shooter. So it's just going up and shooting it and not worrying about what's gonna happen, just being confident and just shooting it.
Yeah, and this year, you drilled, as I look at the number right now, uh, 45% of your catch and shoot threes, which is just an enormous number, like a truly like enormous, enormous number. Everything looks perfect here, like with your jumper. Like there is no, like, I don't see any immediate concerns. Like I think you're really going to shoot it from
Mhm.
three in the NBA. Like I don't really have a worry there. And especially if you're going to knock them down off the catch, that's like really what
Yeah.
you need to be able to play off of. You're not going to enter the NBA and be, one of the 10 best players, 30 best players in the league, right? So you need that shooting off the catch to be able to play off of guys.
Yeah.
Uh, this shot just looks perfectly balanced to me. I don't see any, I don't see any flaw really. I don't see
Yeah. No,
any
I mean,
reason to
catch
worry
and
about you as a
shoot.
shooter.
Catch and shoot for me has been like I'm really comfortable with that. And I think like one thing that especially at the next level, like yeah, like you said, like I'm not gonna have the ball most of the time. So it's being able to impact the game in different ways. And I feel like the catch and shoot is going to be really important to me. And I feel really comfortable with that. So it's great.
Well, and your shot prep here too. Look, you're spacing from 25 feet, like you're ready to fire, right? Like you have your right foot here, just like, ready to go. Like you have it, in alignment, because you're somebody that tends to shoot with your feet like a little bit tilted away from the rim as
Yeah.
opposed to like directly in alignment with the rim. Your foot here, like this is your perfect shot prep, right? Everyone's shot prep is different, but this is your perfect version of it, right? Legs bent, kind of have like a little bit of like that inward bend already there. Like you're ready to go here. And I think that, again, it just speaks to your comfort as a catch and shoot guy, right? Like you're ready to go from the jump. So let's get into the passing now, because this is where I think you are very fun. Uh, the scoring game is good. Like you are a very real scorer. I think you were more known as a scorer though at UCSB, right?
Yeah.
I think that'd be fair.
Yeah.
I think you are like a very underrated fun passer. And some of the things we're going to kind of go through here are, I just like kind of look at it like you are clearly reading the defense at a high level. And I'm just going to kind of ask you to explain what you're seeing on a lot of these, because I always just really like hearing,
Hmm.
from the vision and like the
Yeah.
way that you're reading the help and everything. So I'll just kind of ask you here, as you get here, you've picked up the ball, right?
I see the
What are
help
you seeing?
already. For like that first drive, big man's going to come like right where I am. And then seeing like Johan right here, my big man, that's a hard pass to get it to because the help defense is coming right behind him. And then right here, I know someone should be in the corner and that guard is trying to get to that corner. So just reading that, the open pass is going to be right at the wing where Cole Anderson is. And it's just really just reading the defense, seeing that off that first drive, I think getting the 2-foot stop and then being able to make a quick decision, but having that time to just read, okay, I see the help coming. That bounce or lob is not going to be available. what's my next read is that pass away 3. So just kind of reading that, and then I mean Cole's a great shooter, and obviously when I drive this, it's one of the guys I'm looking for. So knowing where he's gonna be and then just finding him right in the pocket and then just shoot it.
That's the other thing I'm really glad you brought up, just like finding him right in the pocket, right? I feel like you are a very accurate passer
Mhm.
to your guys, like into the shooting pocket. I feel like you always hit them right in the spot where they want the ball. Uh, this one here, you're going to come up. I mean, this is just sick. This is awesome. This is like epitome of live dribble passing, right? Like whenever people use that term, you see that you've got your man trailing. You're trying to engage this big.
Yeah.
What are you
I,
seeing here as
I
you come off?
honestly, first of all, I think seeing my big man right here already behind his player. So his guy's basically worried about the ball right here. And then on my right here, I know that there's no help really. They're probably more concerned about that kick out 3. And so right here at that moment, I'm like, this is going to be a lob. And I think also what helps too is Johan right here kind of like asking for the ball, so it makes his man like play him. So I know that that lob is wide open.
Yeah, like you're not going to get this help here off the
Yeah.
post. You're going to get this lob
And
down
I think,
here.
I mean, I think like that pass off the dribble really helps too. I feel like if I pick it up, I maybe Johan's man is gonna help, or maybe I won't have time to throw that lob. So it's just being able to be efficient in a really like short amount of time, and then just making quick decisions. Right here, I know it's gonna be wide open. That's an easy
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah, like there's no gather, there's no like anything. Like you
Mhm.
go off of one hand here and just lift this ball up. You know,
Yeah,
some guys like they need that extra split second to be able to like, get their right hand to the ball and then get control of it and then throw it. Like your ability to just be able to get that, all in one motion with your left hand, it just split seconds, as obviously matter in an immense level on the NBA court and certainly on the college court even. And being able to cut down on those extra split seconds is huge there.
yeah.
Like just being able to execute this is big. And it's again right on point. Like
Mhm.
couldn't be more like right in the spot where he needs it. This one here, just kind of take me through what you're seeing. This looks like a set play, maybe.
Yeah. No, so that was the plays, fake that ball screen and then go into an away screen. And I think right here for me is acting like I'm a drive. Like I'm like right here, I'm still trying to be aggressive and see what my options are. And then off that stop, it's like, okay, right here, it's either going to be kind of a lob pass for my big corner pass or whoever's lifting. And right here, they help off the big, and then they're worried about Cole in the corner. So I know that Mattia coming up right here is going to be like wide open. So
Yeah.
being aggressive right here, getting to a stop, and then with the ball, just kind of like faking so to see what the defense is going to do. And then it's just having him go up maybe a little faster right here. And that's an easy shot. So I think that's a great play that we ran. And then I think the spacing was pretty good on that play too.
The spacing is great. Like this is like just straight up like NBA style, thing that you're going to look at, right? Like this guy here, he's one in charge of 1-on-2 here.
Yeah.
And the screen that we're looking at right now, it's abundantly clear that you're looking in the corner to me.
Yeah.
Like your manipulation with your eyes here is just awesome. I think the way that you moved this corner man here and opened up this 3-point shot on the wing, it's just textbook. Like it's exactly what you would want to see. This time you kind of reject like that double drag and then you get into it. And, I would imagine that's not a set play. I would imagine that's just kind of you free rolling a little
Oh
bit, but
yeah.
like
I
kind
mean,
of
yeah. I was
explain.
just playing the game. I feel like right here, they weren't really trying to down, but he was more on my hip. So my first read is just play off of it. Like if he's gonna give me that drive, I'm a drive. And then here, okay, I don't have it. Being patient too, I think, is really important for me. Just if they cut me off, like I'm not in a rush. I have time right here getting off, and then that ball screen, I think he gets hit, so I know I can get into the paint and then make the big guy have to guard me. And then right here, it was the same against Cal Poly. Like Johan kind of gets behind his man, and that's an easy lob.
Yep. No, I mean that's exactly how you'd want to like teach that and like do it all. So this one here, again, like we talked about eye manipulation on that last play, or not
Yeah.
the last play, but the play before that. Like this is why I put that on here, right?
Mhm.
Like, you pump fake here. This is a testament to your gravity as a scorer, right? Both of these guys on New Mexico, really come out and like play aggressively on you, leaving this man in a 1-on-2.
Mhm.
And at that point, you're just trying to, you know,
Yeah,
move
yeah,
this
using my
guy.
eyes, seeing what he's gonna commit to, and right here, he was committing to that kick out three. So it's just really being patient once I catch that. Obviously, I want to be aggressive here. I see two guys on me. It's like, who's going to be open? So that's what I'm looking at. And then obviously, first look is what is the defense going to do here? They're worried about that three. Okay, Johan's going to be open.
Yeah. No, it's just really, really sharp. And then this one here, this is just a little pump fake. You're going to catch in transition. They're kind of trying to scramble to get back, right?
Yeah.
And, you catch here, you understand that you've got this move because you've got this flyby coming on a
Yeah.
closeout. And you just, I'd imagine at this point, this is where that triple threat, like dribble pass shoot stuff comes in.
Yeah.
You're just trying to create the easiest shot possible, right?
No, for sure. I mean, once I get to that area, is just what's the best shot right here? Here, he's kind of stepping up because he probably thinks I'm gonna just shoot that pull up, and then on that backside, they're not really like helping or anything. So seeing Johan wide open there is just a quick read, quick pass.
And then this one against Northern Arizona, I think this is like multiple plays that you're going to make where you eventually get to that kick out and then you hit this little extra pass, right? Right across the court. So let's kind of jump through this too.
Yeah,
What are you seeing here on this left? This is obviously a mismatch here with
yeah.
number 7 on you. I'm sorry, I don't know Northern Arizona's roster like the back of my hand,
Mhm.
but I would imagine that this is a big on a
Yeah,
mismatch here.
yeah. Yeah, and then just
And
getting to the
yeah,
paint, kind of reading. Here, I'm like, I don't really have a shot and don't really have a pass, but I know when I'm driving, I'm kind of telling Mattia, get to that corner right here. And then he gets there, and that I feel like on that, it could have been a shot, and I think he makes the right decision of driving that closeout. But I think,
mhm,
yeah, just kind of telling him with my eyes, get to that corner, and then just hitting him right here. I think that's a good drive. He sees the help too, and then kick out. And then here it's like just making a quick decision. They're kind of rotating still, and I'm like, if I can pass it as quick as I can to and my guy right here, Jason, that's an easy three for him. And I think
yeah.
also a great job from him to like kind of go away from me right here and
Yep.
get the spot to shoot it. So I think, yeah, just making quick reads and then obviously not putting the ball on the floor or not wasting time. I think right here, just catching it, seeing the rotation, and just like, yeah, that's the three we want.
And I think that they're in zone here. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think just kind of based off of the way they're playing, but I guess in theory they could be in man,
I
kind of
think not,
matching up.
and
But
they were
I
in
think it's
men, and then I think once we started driving and getting to the paint, it was like they were just like gambling. So
yeah.
trying to find a man here is like the same thing. Drive and then there's help, and then yeah, just making quick decisions.
Yeah, the thing that threw me off was like that number 21 like didn't totally follow
Yeah,
this one to the
yeah, yeah.
corner. I was like, what's this is interesting. I
Mhm.
was like, this might be a zone. But regardless, like, you figure out the 1-on-2 up here, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what I really love. Like you're really great at pressing those 1-on-2 advantages. I feel like that's what we've talked about throughout this whole
yeah,
thing is, you understand that this man here is just so responsible for guarding 2, right? And he has to be available to be active and available on both
Yeah.
you and this man behind you here.
Hmm.
And you just always press that advantage. You always press that. Always seem to make the right choices to press that advantage as well. And this will be the final clip here that we're going to talk about. But again, this is just like a sharp skip pass. I feel like we've seen like a couple of skip passes from you, but this is kind of tailor-made NBA look. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Where again,
Yeah.
this
Just
man here in the corner is empty.
yeah. Always when I come off a ball screen, I think it's always obviously reading what they're doing on ball, but most of the time is reading that backside. And I think all of that is like they're helping heavy. I'm going to my left, so they probably think it's to be a driver, like just to pass to Johan right here, who short rolls. And then once I see Cole's man just committing to that kind of short roll, it's an automatic
Yep.
like read. It's just
Yeah.
kick it out and wide open three.
And then the last thing I'd ask you on this play is like it almost feels like you're trying to lead him more to the corner than
Yeah,
where he ends up because you see that there's
there's
you're trying to
much.
lead him
I
into
feel
the
like there's much more space. Yeah, I feel like
yeah.
there's really no help, and I feel like if he was to come up here, it would be an easier closeout for his man. As if
Yep.
in the corner, that's a long closeout.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think that is the exact thing that you would want to see there. And yeah, like I really like your game as a passer. I think you have a real shot to be just like an absolutely tremendous passer in the NBA as the screen kind of glitches here as we go. But yeah, no, like I think that the way that your game builds upon itself is really what I wanted to kind of get across to people here is just
Mhm.
like you have the driving ability, you have the decel ability to be able to get to the paint regularly. I think that you guys didn't have poor spacing at all this year, but
Mhm.
you know, even playing in the NBA, I think is going to give you more space to
Yeah.
operate and utilize that deceleration. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's definitely going to be much more spacing, and I think it's just using that to my advantage. Obviously,
Mhm.
no, I can get to the paint, no, I can get to the mid range, no, I can shoot the three, but also no, I can like find my guys, see where they're going to be, and then reading the defense. I think that's one of the main things. I feel like that IQ, being able to
Yep.
read defenses, is going to be really important.
Yeah, it's just like combining that processing quickly on the court along with the ability to shoot from any spot on the court and
Mhm.
like execute every pass on the
Yeah.
court almost, right? Like it's everything mixed in together with one with you, which is why I'm a really big fan. I've watched you, for the very least 2 years now. I watched a little bit of you as a freshman, but not a lot. But you really do just have like a game that flows really cleanly upon itself. And you're
Uh,
big, like 6'4". You have real strength, and you're going to be able to get to your spots. I think so. Um, two questions that I have for you. Obviously, coming from like a smaller school, this question might be like a little bit interesting because I'll probably get a different answer than what I've gotten. But who was the best player that you played against this season? You felt like,
I think it was. I mean, I think Donovan Den and JT Toppin
yeah,
from New Mexico were really good. Jalen House too. I feel like I feel those three players are probably the best guys we've played. I've played this year.
yeah,
I think those were the three. I think in our conference, I feel like we always have really good guards. I think Elijah Pepper is a really good
yeah,
guard, a really good scorer. T.Y. Johnson from Davis too, and then we had guards from every team that were pretty good this year. And
yeah,
I think that makes it fun. Like it's always fun to play against good guards. I think we didn't have. I think our conference didn't have the best bigs,
yeah.
athletic wise. But the IQ was definitely there, and I feel like guards were really good, and it's always fun to play against good guards. Like it makes it interesting, makes it a
Yeah.
fun game. So it's always fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Dent because Dent is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like across college basketball, like I'm a big fan. Just the way that it's not like terribly dissimilar to you. Like I think you have more of a clean mid range game and everything, but his ability to run a court and like run the
Oh,
show. He is fantastic, fantastic. And then here is the final question here that I ask everybody. Uh, what is your favorite sports movie?
favorite sports movie? Ooh, probably. I mean, Love and Basketball. I feel like
Okay,
was
there we go.
Love and Basketball was my movie growing up. So yeah.
It's a new answer. I love that. That's a great answer. It's so interesting to me that you guys, maybe this is because there haven't been a lot of great sports movies. So I'm like
Mhm.
34, so I'm like the generation like right before you guys, right? And I feel like all of the movies that you guys have brought up between, Coach Carter is one that a lot of people have brought up. Love and Basketball, like those are more like when I grew up, right? Like, this when I was like 12, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if it's something where it's like maybe sports movies they like trickled down because like,
Mhm.
that movie was just as old as like Hoosiers was when I was young, right? And maybe for you guys it's like Coach Carter, Love and Basketball, things like that. Like it takes like a 20-year
Yeah.
cycle for
Yeah,
sports
I feel
movies.
most of the sports movies that I like are like older. I feel like Mike
Yeah.
Space Jam. But then I think lately there's been a few movies that were pretty good. I think Thunderstruck was
That's the
it was
KD
decent.
one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was all right. And then I feel like there was that new one on Netflix with Hernan Gomez.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, 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 the one with Adam Sandler,
yeah, yeah,
Hustle.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Hustle. I feel like that was a good movie. That was a pretty good one. I enjoyed it. So
Yeah, Hustle was good. Hustle was fun.
pretty
I
good.
thought I thought for a second I was like Hernan Gomez, like two different name, like first name and last name. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what now? No, but no, that was really good. I like that one too. That's the last really good sports movie I
Mhm,
feel
yeah,
like that we've had.
yeah.
That and the Ben Affleck one where he's like a drunk basketball coach,
Mhm,
was pretty good. But
yeah.
AJ, is there anything else you want to kind of get across to people before we get out of here? Because I feel like you're just kind of you're a low key guy that's just awesome at basketball and just
Yeah,
kind of rolls
no.
with it,
I
right?
mean, just appreciate you for the opportunity to step up. I think everything has been said, honestly. It's been fun to just talk about my game and then see how I see the game and how I read it. So it was really fun.
Yeah, that's the goal. Like I love getting you guys in like a setting like this where you can just show your brain. Like I think that, you know, even guys, and you certainly don't fit into this category, but even guys that like are considered like quote unquote like lower basketball IQ players based on playing against other, great IQ players, they come on like in a setting like this and they still can talk like circles around the game compared to everybody else. You know what I mean? And let alone you, where you're just like processing things so quickly out there, having played point guard. So I think it's just such a great setting to be able to get you guys. So I'm really glad that you were able to come on, and we'll be back with more of these at some point soon. So just keep it locked here, and thanks to AJ for coming on.